Robert Drouhin, who's 84 now, 84 years old, was a spectator and one of the taster of the Jugement de Paris in the late 70s. And obviously one of the wine that impressed him a lot was one of the Oregon Pinot that was on that tastings in this particular year. And actually, as he found that like the vintages that have been chosen by the organization was not the best to be compared to Californian wines and Oregon wines, he decided to do it again in Beaune with the same wines, but some more comparable vintages to look at. And one of the Oregon that stands out from the first tasting stands another time, really big time, when he did the tasting in Beaune. So he got in contact with this gentleman, and in fact, a couple of years later, in 1987, he got a call from that gentleman in Oregon, and he told him, well, listen, there's a piece of land to sell, not far from me. I think it would be interesting to plant over there. And Robert was like, okay, let's go, let's see, and decide what we do. So he went to Oregon, saw the place, and he said, okay, how much is it? Was not planted. And Oregon in 1987, there were not that many people interested to invest in this part of the world. So he bought that land, that's 60 hectares. He planted the vines over there in 1987, so that was not possible to make wines from these vines for at least 4 years. But in 1990, so 3 years later after the purchase of the land, he started to build the winery that we have today, the same. We are thinking to actually extend the warehouse capacity, because now we have 2 estates. And actually this beautiful, some of you have been to Oregon, some of you will go to Oregon, you will see that it's a beautiful location, it's a beautiful crafted building, and it's a gravity-oriented building, so we don't use pumps at all. Everything is done by gravity all the way through to the bottling. And so this is also, and when I was saying that we had some good days and some bad days, you have also to remember that in 1993 we had a bit of economic crisis worldwide. And so the slowdown of sales for Burgundy wines, but Oregon was just at the start, but it was just probably the second vintage that we were doing in Oregon. So this operation in Oregon was very costly. You build a winery, you plant, you buy the land, stuff like that, and your main source of revenue, which was Burgundy, was not doing well because of the crisis. So that's where we started to nearly fall. Like the company was nearly bankrupt in 1993. Robert decided to secure the bankers, and we got a bit of help from our Japanese importer financially, and we survived that crisis. And I must say that this has become a real asset for us as we strengthen our operation in Japan, and in the same times we've been able to survive both in Oregon and Burgundy. And when probably the movie Sideways put Pinot Noir on the map, that was the perfect happening for us. We saw our sales going better and better, and the past few years, Domaine Drouhin Oregon, the first one, was sold out. Like everything was sold within a year and sometimes a failure or a shortage of wine we couldn't supply customers. So when the questions, what are we doing? Or are we just saying, yeah, that's it, it's good, everything is pre-sold, let's get the money in and sit down. The family decided to reinvest in Oregon, in a second location. Actually, this second location, which is about 25 miles south of Domaine Drouhin, Oregon, was a supplier of grapes for Cloudline. We are tasting today, Pinot. So, in fact, when these gentlemen decided to sell their estates, to do something else, we've been offered to buy it straight away. So that was another 60 hectares to buy. Cost us a few millions. That was not the same price as the first land where there was nothing planted.
At the time.
But far away from the prices of Burgundy. Because the prices of Burgundy, I'm sure you've heard very silly price tags on the estates or the vineyards. Now Drouhin cannot buy this kind of price. I mean, when you count for Bonneau du Martret 200 million euros, that's 6 times the turnover of Drouhin. So when you talk about an 80 hectares property like Drouhin, having to reinvest like maybe for a few generations on a piece of estate producing mainly Corton Charlemagne and Corton Red, that's a lot of money, and we are not in this capacity to reinvest that much money on that. We have to accept the rules of the game. There's richer people, there's silly money going around, they can pay for it. Maybe it's good for Burgundy, maybe it's bad. We'll see probably in the next 10 or 20 years, because this also will impact Burgundy in terms of who's doing what. So that's a big question mark for the future. But that's our estate.